So, welcome to this session with the master himself. Ujjwal ji, thank you for gracing us at the Tribe of Coaches with your presence. And I know a lot of things have transpired to make the session happen. The initial seed of which was possibly at Kabban Park a year back almost. And then today we're meeting, and it's always a joy when the guru comes to a shishya's home and shares his experiences. So thank you for once again for jumping in. And so the floor is yours. We just wanted to find just a topic to make sure that you're in and you're interested in this topic. And over to you for whatever that you want us to share. Two things which I would request you to share is your experiences of being a coach and also the being part of the coach versus doing coaching. And also another tidbit that I heard from a few coaches is also that there are three levels of coaching. One is you're learning to be a coach. Second, you're doing coaching, and three, you're just being the coach. So that context, I think, is enough for you to run, say, 2 hours of conversation. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, Sunil. I think I'm talking to someone else, but Pungi will be better. I'm sure everyone on this forum knows you as Pungi Dasa as well. And hello, everyone. I appreciate your risk-taking ability that despite some of you knew me, you still join. And despite some of you, perhaps we are meeting for the first time. Almost everyone I have interaction in some or the other way, but still you decided to take that leap of faith. Okay. So I will share with you a story. Okay. So there was one session in which I was invited as a keynote speaker. So when I started speaking, I saw a guy from the backbencher stood up and started looking at me with, started staring at me, and I found that he's agitated, he's angry. So, and he started coming forward towards me. So when he came so close, I saw that there was a revolver tied to his belt. Okay, so I got scared and I looked at him. I stopped speaking. So he said, "No, no, no, don't worry. You continue. You continue." I said, "No, but I can't continue. You are angry. You're looking at me. You have a revolver and your hand is going there time and again." He said, "No, no, no. Actually, it's not your fault. I'm searching for the guy who brought you here. I'm looking for him and then I'll do something with him." Right? So, in case you have any of these things, then you know whom to catch the guy. It's Sunil who brought me here. It's not my fault. Okay. So, so with that, okay. So you asked me to share my story, and I won't bore everyone much, but all I can share with everyone is that it's a conversation. Coaching is all about having a conversation, right? So I think it will be wonderful that we make it more like a Q&A session. Happy to have a conversation with you. And but I can just give you some bit of a background because the master of ceremony has said, anchor has said that you cover these. So first I will go with a bit of a journey sharing with you. So, and it's not about me. I can only share that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay? So, because all of you are in different stages of your coaching journey, so I can only say that we always start with learning and then doing of a coach because it's a part of our conscious incompetence and conscious competence stage that we become conscious that what we don't know, so we strive to learn, and then we go to conscious competence stage where we become conscious of what are we doing. And I have seen that the biggest block that one needs to overcome is this conscious competence block, because I always tell my learners also when they come in my programs, I tell them that do not judge your coaching because you are not qualified to judge. Leave that job to us to evaluate, is it a good coaching or bad coaching? Because, even in coach training schools also at times, they teach a lot how not to judge the client, but they perhaps miss the point that how not to judge yourself first. Most of the coaches are also, they also get stuck that I am not never going to be a good coach. I'm never going to be PCC. Oh my God, my mentor has given me this comment. And sometimes peer coaches do bigger harm. Yeah. Peer coaches also in peer coaching networks, they give you a feedback. Oh, this question you shouldn't have asked this way. Oh, this you have explored metaphor. Why? Instead you should introduce metaphor. And like we used to do in school times, college times, like peer pressure, what parents say, we don't really get that. But our friends say we bring the same problem to our friends who are also facing the similar problem, but they advise us on how to solve it. So nothing wrong with it. It's an evolution stage. So from conscious competence to gradually one will move towards unconscious competence. That is where the being part will come. But I just wanted to invite you to share when Pungi says that it's a doing of a coach, doing coaching versus being a coach. So when you hear that, what comes up for you? First, let us focus on what is doing of a coach would mean for you. You can unmute and speak, or you can also respond in the chat box.
So, Ujjaval, I mean, I've been coaching now for what, 4 years now. Okay. And I think, when you think about 4 years, so it's been 4 years, hundreds of hours. But I still feel that I'm doing coaching in a sense, every coaching that I do, I'm actually learning quite a bit in every coach. And every time I see that I'm, something I could do better.
Okay.
Right. Earlier, I was always thinking about being in the framework. Okay. So that was, I was learning the coaching. Okay. So I think I've passed that phase and I'm now doing the coaching where, you're looking at, you spoke about, conscious, subconscious, competence, incompetence. So it's like, the sense of conscious incompetence in the mind, which keeps telling you this and this and this and that. So I think that's what we're doing. And I liked what Pungi said about being a coach. And I think that's the stage where we all aspire to be.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Rosario. Anyone else?
I have something, but I'll go after somebody else is gone.
Okay. But you will not go after those people who are sharing it.
Maybe I can just share my opinion. First of all,
Yes,
thank
Priya.
you. Yeah, so I would say that the doing part is the meticulous follower of the rule book, the competencies, being into the framework. So,
Yeah.
whereas when it comes to the being part of it, you just go intuitively, not waiting for the framework to be established or too much into the contract specific. Rather, you are on the result specific. How you move the coachee from being in the stuck energy to to take some action or something. So going very intuitively, go with the flow, that's in the being part. You don't need
Okay.
a proper setup and framework to be a coach. Anyone over a coffee also you can coach and make them the mindset should be shifted. That's more being. I think that's in adherence with the competency as well. You unconsciously competent with that.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Wonderful.
I think this constitutes two parts. One is what we do during a coaching conversation. So are you doing coaching, or are you practicing being coaching during a coaching conversation? And they could be very different from each other. The second is, as a coach, how do I show up for my clients? So that again could be from a mindset of doing coaching versus showing up as a coach
Yeah,
for my client. And the
sure.
third piece is to actually extend it to saying that being a coach is just something that I do during a conversation with a client, vis-a-vis showing up in every area of my life systemically as a coach. So
Oh,
I
wonderful.
think there are various segments to it, rather than looking at it just myopically and saying that, okay, now I have a coaching conversation, so I'm doing coaching with this person. This is the problem, and this is the action step that the person is saying.
Yeah.
And being a coach is far more integral.
Oh, wonderful. Arunanjali, that's amazing. And thank you everyone for sharing. If I pick up that behavioral aspect, I think that's a great point to double click and expand. So what happens is that when we start coaching and doing of a coaches, that I'm stepping into a coach's role, and whenever coaching is happening, I'm behaving in a particular way, and then I switch back to my original behaviors, which may not be coach like, but I am who I am because I'm not a coach. Like, for example, let me share a very day to day practical example. Most of us are solopreneurs, right? So, for example, when I'm negotiating with a company, okay, I will be client centric, but after the rates are decided. For example, one of the companies reached out to me and HR person started negotiating. So I had to do this on the screen. Just, and you know, sometimes they feel they got a jerk. Said, sorry, are you asking me to pause? I said yes. So may I share with you why I paused you? Yes. I said that just wanted to check whether it is in your performance area or is it in your KPI to negotiate with vendors. She said no. I said, in that case, will there be a purchase guy who will be in touch with us to get the final rates? Yes. Said, will it be in their KPI? Yes. Then I said, then let them do the job. No? Why you are doing a first cut, you are negotiating with me, and then even a purchase guy will come and further squeeze. So I would like to be squeezed only once. And that also I will tell you that I will jack up the rate by 10% and give you a discount of 10%. Will it be comfortable? So I am not client centric fully at that time. I have to be self-centric as well, me-centric as well, because that is the time I'm not a coach. But the way I show up, the way I talk, my tonality, my unconditional positive regard, my respect for the person who is talking to me, while saying what is needed to be said, but saying in a way that does not look demeaning to them, right? So just to keep it very short, I would always say that ICF core competencies are life competencies. And being of a coach is beautifully defined in core competency number 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Cultivates trust and safety, maintains presence, active listening, and evokes awareness. Listens actively and evokes awareness. If whatever 5, 6, 7 sub-competencies in there, if those competencies are really practiced and you once it is in like Arunanjali used another amazing word, integrated. When they are integrated into your being, then You are not a coach when uh, you are not a coach when you are not coaching, but you will be coach like even when you are not coaching. So that is the being of a coach. Okay. So I'll take a pause here and check if there is anything you would like to share or ask. Then we go to the session, where in the session, what Pungi originally had intended and what is the doing and being part. Will that be okay? Yeah. Okay. So I'll just wait if there is anything coming up, then we move forward.
I absolutely loved it that you said their life competencies, not necessarily ICF competencies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But till you clear the assessment, it also becomes a death competency sometimes, because if those markers are not hit, I always say that try and till the time your evaluation is happening, try to hit the markers to prevent, otherwise markers will hit you. Yeah.
Um,
And they are like permanent markers, not like those whiteboard markers which can be wiped out. Okay. Are we good to proceed further? Okay. Now, when in the session, when you are aware, I would like to cite a couple of research references, which all of you will be aware, but I'm just putting it into the context. What does that mean? So there is an amazing book called Peak. Okay, I can also parallelly type in the chat box, which is Peak by Anders Ericsson. Okay, who had no stake in the Ericsson, mobile gear company. He dedicated his whole life in studying peak performances. Okay, and he passed away about a couple of years ago, and he studied peak performances, which we call mastery, in various facets of life. For sports people, for say, dancers, for musicians. He did not study corporate people because now he's passed away, so we don't know why he didn't study corporate people. Maybe he wanted to study the peak of other facets of life, because perhaps there is no life in corporates. That's why he didn't go there. Maybe we don't know. We need to check with Tapan. So from that standpoint, you remember Malcolm Gladwell had mentioned 10,000 hours of rule? That was actually misquoted completely. That was the original research of Anders Ericsson. What he said, that 10,000 repetitions with deliberate practice can take someone to a mastery level. The double clicking of word here is deliberate practice. What is deliberate practice? Because Malcolm Gladwell said you repeat 10,000 times and you get the mastery. But 10,000 hours of wrong repetitions will not take you to a mastery. But deliberate practice is that while you are practicing, either you get a self-feedback, self-learning keeps on happening, or somebody observes you and asking you to do better, and every repetition you are doing slightly better, slightly better, slightly better. So 10,000 repetitions will take you to mastery. Okay. And once someone reaches there at a mastery level, there is no difference between master and mastery. And that is also in some way suggested by this great researcher, the author of this book, Flow, whose pronunciation of his surname. I have tried number of times, but I have failed. He also passed away. Probably he heard how wrongly I was pronouncing his name. So I don't know the reason behind his death, but that was probably because of that. In the flow, also, they say it's a flow state where you lose the count of time and space. But for recordings, be mindful of 60 minutes deadline. So when you enter that flow channel, you are enjoying what you are doing, because most of the times enjoyment is devoid of judgment. And what coaches do, that they make this big mistake of judging self. And especially the biggest deterrent is during the session. As say I'm coaching Pungi, I would say that, so Pungi, what is it that you want to discuss? And Pungi shares something. And instead of coaching in the moment, I ask, okay, so how would you know that you have reached there? So then I have a wisdom in the hindsight. Oh my God, I forgot to coach in the moment. I am no longer an ACC level coach. I am at a PCC level. So I should have asked that you wanted clarity. So what clarity would mean for you? Then I go back again. I repeat that mistake. So Pungi, you said a while ago that you want a clarity. So what is that clarity all about? So I am losing my beingness because I am using my doingness. I'm conscious of what I am doing. Now, beingness also, you don't lose consciousness. It stops infringing you. So, to summarize, doing and being, the difference is judgment. In doing, we don't suspend the judgment. In being, judgment comes, but it comes at a distance. It doesn't interfere with your presence in the moment. So if anybody is telling you non-judgmental approach, which is fine because we don't use the judgment during our conversations with self or others, but otherwise, neurologically, you cannot not judge. You have no choice. The moment sensory inputs go inside, brain cannot help but process it and churn out judgments, opinions, biases. And initially in our coaching journey, these judgments, opinions, biases keep infringing, keep coming in the way of our inquiry. But when you are into beingness, when you are in mastery position, then they come, but they don't intrude, which means you have a choice. And for that, the starting point is, without spreading it too thin, I can just share that starting point is coaches should not judge them. If they judge, they need to verify their judgments with someone, and those inputs should be taken as a learning experience rather than opinions about the quality of coaching you are. That's the difference between objectivity and subjectivity. I'll take a pause here and check if you want to contribute anything at this moment.
I think we're still reflecting on whatever you just dropped on us.
Okay.
So here the master and mastery are not separate. So that's what I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Crazy it was.
Thank you, Pungi.
So one thing I was like contemplating of sharing was the idea that in terms of textbook space, or like there's no chatter inside saying do this, don't do this, was something that I was intending to share, which you captured in terms of the judgment space. There's no chatter when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So
and even if chatter is there, it is not troubling. I'm
Hmm.
okay with that chapter.
Mm. So maybe I had also another thought process which I'd like to just share it with you and check your POV on that. So uh, one thing that I try to do is not be Sunil, not be a like all the credentialed coaches, not come with any experience or expertise saying this is who I am to a coaching call. Uh, do you also look at it as being a part of the um, being state? So I say I'm just an energy that's being present at this point of time. That's
Yeah.
just there.
Yes, absolutely. And so that also means that I'm dropping my ego aside,
Mm.
which means that I'm not taking it as a winning or losing battle. I think what Shanmukhpriya said initially, that the moment I'm focused on the outcome, that it is my job to take the client to the outcome. I am in the process. I am the facilitator of the process. That I comes in the way. So there are two research references I can cite. So one I have already shared, then two more because there is one buy one get two offer was going on. So I picked it up. So one is about Peak by Anders Ericsson. Another research reference, which all of you are aware, is known as father of modern day coaching, which is Timothy Gallery's Inner Game of Work.
Yeah, tennis.
Yeah. So inner game of tennis, inner game of golf, inner game of there's a lot of inner game approach, but they are not those inner games played in the organizations, which is game which is played between two voices inside. And Bill Gates has named that one of those 5 books that transformed him and the Microsoft as well. So if you look at Bill Gates' review on his website, Gates Notes, he writes that inner game taught me to get out of my own way. So from being to doing, from conscious competence to unconscious competence, is that I drop judgment on myself. Yeah, Seema, absolutely. So this, and I'll share 4 words, not 4-letter words, because Pungi is recording it, but 4 words. One is awareness. Second is acceptance. Third is forgiveness. And fourth is self-love. My understanding of being to doing can be encapsulated in these 4 words. Otherwise, we keep saying 4-letter words to ourselves in our own mind or also to others in our own mind. So, one, I should be aware that what I'm catching myself on, and am I capable to catch myself on? Oh, I have slightly mistyped. So second word is awareness and second word is acceptance. Then forgiveness and self-love. So you move into the being space once you accept yourself with your all the defects, shortcomings, because you should know that complete man is only found in Raymond's. Yeah. And why they don't talk about complete women? Because women are complete already since birth. Yeah. So we should be aware of our strengths as well as weaknesses. And we are all WIP till RIP. right? We are all work in progress till someone writes RIP on our timeline. So we need to accept as we are. And that also Carl Rogers says in his book on becoming a person, Paradox of Change, that you have to accept your current state, how much bad, ugly it is, to be able to lift that anchor to go towards the desired state. If I am diagnosed with blood sugar, but I don't want to be a diabetic, then I need to first accept that I am pre-diabetic or I am a borderline diabetic. Then only I can start the remedial measures. So awareness, acceptance, and then forgiveness. Like I'm hoping that all my learners have forgiven me. Hence, I have forgiven myself. And then it triggers self-love. And self-love is critical factor in switching from going to being space. Yeah. So inner game was one reference. Another one, which I'm sure as coaches, all of you are aware, is the DOQ model by Hazen Moon. And if you haven't ordered, by the way, I don't have any referral arrangements with her, but if you haven't ordered or order coaching A to Z, it's an amazing book, but in which she refers to DOQ model hardly in half a page or maybe 1.5 page. I don't remember, but you must look up for her webinar on Institute of Coaching website, IOC, but they don't have connection with BPCL, HPCL. So Mr. Kurian can also go to IOC website, despite he was Executive Director HR with BPCL. By the way, his wife is with IOCL. So this is Institute of Coaching we are talking about, not Indian Oil Corporation. Yeah. So where she talks about regretful past and resourceful past and dreaded future and preferred future. So being space would be purely possible when I'm neither in regretful past or resourceful past. I am neither in dreaded future. Preferred future of client is also not my future. Because coaching is the only mechanism where I don't have to worry about whether client will reach the outcome or not. And I always tell this, that coaches don't become a coolie or porter on railway station. It's client's baggage which they are holding. You are only traveling along with them, going 50 steps in Indian railway station, coming 50 steps down. Escalators are there, but they are not working many a times. So you can't escalate that to anyone because there is no one to listen. So climb 50 steps, climb down 50 steps, but don't hold their baggage. They're not paying you. You are not coolie. You are not porter. Your job is to help them realize that they are holding the baggage, which means they had put it up a lot of weight and a lot of pain in holding it. So they also carry that strength and potential and will they need to develop to put it down. And the weight will go away. We don't do this job. Neither you are secretary or executive assistant of your client. That you send the summary, you send the notes, you remind them for the session. No. You're only the owner of coaching process. But till these truths became alive for you, I learned hard way. This is my 13th year as a practicing coach. I don't know why clients keep making those mistakes again and again, but there are some repeat work also coming. But what I realized is coaching is not doing. Although we start with that, eventually we need to know that that's not our permanent state. You start with bachelorhood and then you become married. Right? So that's the path that you need to go through. And you try to do, but after 25 years of marriage life, I realized that doingness of husband is not going to yield any peace and happiness. So being space, same awareness, acceptance, forgiveness, and self-love and love the spouse. Okay, I'll take a pause again. And I hope those of you are behind the screen are also, I think the night time is away, except, yeah, Arunanjali is no more in that time zone. Otherwise, it would have been sleeping time for him. All right. Any questions or anything you want to share? Agree, disagree, validate, invalidate?
I have a question.
Mhm.
So you spoke about the 4 steps from doing, not steps, but 4
Stages, yeah.
elements. Yeah. Awareness, acceptance, forgiveness, and self-love. Forgiveness. It makes me feel a little uncomfortable when I hear forgiveness, because whether as a forgiver or as a forgivee, I feel that that means one person is superior to the other, as opposed to something that I hold very strongly about is in coaching about partnership. And that's something I bring to every interaction and relationship
Right.
that I have with myself or with others. So when I hear the word forgiveness, it makes me feel as if this is my superior self forgiving my inferior self, or, even if it's internally to myself. So I just want to have
No,
your...
definitely, Arunanjali. I think that's a great thought. So let me share the context behind this word. Okay, so in DOQ model, which is like a GPS of conversations, okay, when it is regretful past, okay, so what happens in that regretful past? Say even say immediate moment, say, oh, I should have asked this. Now let me go back and this. So what I'm doing is that I'm holding myself against. So forgiving, if it is a level difference, then not forgiving, punishing, holding oneself against is also the level difference, right? With the same logic that you mentioned. So what she says in Regretful Past is that life will keep teaching lessons unless they are learned. So, and that regretful past keeps haunting me because I feel that because of that past, I am inferior, my present is inferior, and my future is further grim. So, what I am doing is I haven't forgiven myself. So, what from that context, I need to reframe that what is the learning coming up from there, which will help me to be more mindful on the pathway to preferred future. So the moment I go into that learning frame, I became a partner with myself. But till that time, I have created that situation unconsciously for myself where I am holding myself against something. And from that standpoint, I'm coming to the forgiving part and forgiving also in partnership. For example, we say some of our best friends, okay, we go for a, like I was having a session with one of my clients, and her friend was not aware. So she suddenly came and without noticing that she's on a video or something, came to her desk and tried to hug her from behind. And it was a shock for this. She was also not aware that session is going on. And in that process, some hand movement happened, and a coffee mug spilled over the desk, including the lap. Okay. So what happened? That the call, of course, couldn't be continued. So after a while, she came back to apologize. She called me and she apologized. She said that, Ujjwal, I said, how are you feeling in this moment? He said, no, I'm feeling absolutely okay because she was my friend. Even if it would have been my own hand with which coffee would have been spilled over, I would not have forgiven me. But because she is my friend, came after a long time, was not aware that she was her office colleague, came to the office, and then she came and whatever happened has happened. So all I'm saying is when there is forgiveness, when there is a partnership, even if that some grudge arises, but I let it go. I forgive, but not from that sense that sin and is forgiven, not in that sense, but maybe an easy word is let it go. If that becomes slightly easier to digest, that awareness, acceptance, let go, and self love will emerge.
Thank you.
Does that help, Arunanjali, in that context?
Yeah, it does. And that's why I think the power of acceptance is very, very important,
Yes,
because um, you are accepting that what happened
yeah,
happened because it probably in that moment had to happen, and
yes,
it is the right thing that happened.
absolutely. Yeah, that
And
moment was
there's,
destined that way.
yeah, in
So,
some ways that, and also the fact that that's why respectfully embracing it
absolutely,
is, I think, a little more empowering for me than forgiving,
absolutely.
because then you're not in that thing of, okay, I just feel more empowered when I hear that I'm respectfully embracing it.
Yeah, embracing. Absolutely. So that this definitely this word could be reframed and replaced. Absolutely fine. Uh, and how, if I can just share with you, and then we go for Q&A and towards the closure, we are already nearing the time. So Pungi has kept 1 hour, keeping the ICF deadline in mind, but that is only for recording the submission recordings, not the this one, but that's fine. So the point is how I can share with you the practice that how, see, one is this doing and being. It's a continuous process. It's not that once you've gone into the being state, you can't be into the doing state where you are continuously judging yourself, you are you are critiquing yourself, you are using a QC approach on yourself, all of that, which is a dynamic process till the time we are alive. But the thing is that how I can share with you how I come out from that space to being space. You have to catch yourself. Where are you? So most of the time we are in the past or we are in the future, but hardly in the present. So how I bring myself to the present moment? So the moment I realize that, oh, last 1 hour I have been dwelling in my past. So I tell myself this very simple, that Ujjwal, you are dead for all previous moments, including past 1 hour of your life. And you are not born for the next moment. So why worry? Let us focus on the present moment. This is where the life is. And my emotional pendulum, which goes here and there, comes back in the present. Before the next such affirmation, I have to tell myself, it's a continuous process. You know? All right.
In
So
terms of Q&As, Ujjwalji, so if I only keep it 1 hour, not necessarily for ICF standards, but also to give you a little bit of space because we'd love to listen to you for, how much of timeline there is.
no, no, absolutely. Appreciate your endurance and
I think this is one endurance that we're very happy to be a part of. So we can do marathons here.
yes. Okay.
And because my love for metaphors, I think I take this emotional pendulum also back with me and games with two voices inside. Uh, those two are very strong spaces that I take back with me. And uh, so just checking in, can we also extend for 5 more minutes? Like generally 8 to 8:05.
Yeah, 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 sure, sure. No problem.
So
So
any
in
questions?
that inner game of stress, Timothy Galvey has also given this amazing formula called STOP. So is stop, think, organize your thoughts, and move and proceed. STOP.
And how much time did it take for you to get to this level of mastery?
Oh, I think now it took almost say MCC credential took almost 7.5, 8 years because I had to very authentically gather every hour to reach 2,500 hours because I started as a full-time coach outside any organizations and so it took time. But I believe that my 19 recordings, 1 9, were rejected before 2 were submitted to ICF for credentialing purposes. So that grilling process, then I eventually realized that why are we differentiating? Why mastery is to be taught only at MCC level? Why can't why can't I work towards making it so simple that we start at foundation level teaching mastery? So one of the realizations that I had was from this amazing book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, where he asked his guru that I want to have out of body experience, astral travel, okay, not astral pipes, but astral travel. That how long will it take? I really want to learn someday in my life. How many years will it take? So his guru said that, you know what, why people are not able to have out of body experience because they think it is difficult. So the moment you think difficult, it will be difficult. The moment you think it is easy, doable, it will be easy and doable. Then look at kids. Kids don't box it into easy or difficult. They just do it. Yeah. So even though not wearing Nike shoes, they just do it. Yeah. So he said that I can teach you. So in some very simple teachings, I don't remember how much time it took, but he taught him to come out of the body and at least travel in about 1.5, 2 kilometer radius and come back into the body. So same way, we were born in the being space, then we went into doing and then forgot to come back. So it is not a destination. Being of a coach is not a destination. It's the origin where we need to return to. So undoing will lead to being. Beingness is already there.
And I think my only words is wow, and nothing else. So, any other thought reflections, anything else that
Yeah, my word is also wow. I think in 50 minutes there is material for 5 days of reflection.
Thank you,
Yes.
Deepti.
Very, very insightful.
Most welcome.
Yeah, it's truly insightful. And my thought reflections are it's more like a spiritual intelligence. Like you just get connected with your spirit more, with your higher purpose, and why you are
Yeah.
here. Because I really felt it as a spiritual knowledge exchange. Because I come from strong spiritual belief, being
Yeah.
a healer myself. I think the being coach part is about you being the healed version of yourself, so that you can
Mm.
go heal the clients, the coaches who coming up with the baggages.
Yeah.
That's how I
Absolutely.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot
Absolutely.
of inner work, lot of reflections, and the 4 steps: the awareness, acceptance, forgiveness, and self-love. So when we master those areas, I think eventually we will move into the space of being the coach. And when you be the coach, and the magic will automatically happen in client's life because you already touched the spiritual arena of that. That's how I see
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Sure.
You talked about many different books. I have tried to write each of them down, but is it possible to later on have a list of these?
Yeah. I think many of it I also won't remember what I have referred because I was being in that moment. But yeah, I will try and capture and share with Pungi.
Yes, yes, yes.
I
I
think
think
Peak Flow and Hasten Moon's coaching A to Z.
Hazen Moon's posting A to
I
Z.
have written down a few, yeah, myself.
Yeah, and I
A to
think
Z, coaching A to Z.
Yeah. Coaching A to Z. Peak by Anders Ericsson. The Inner Game of Tennis. That's the foundational book. Then Inner Game of Stress, Work, whatever is the context
Autobiography of a yogi
of
as
a
well.
yogi. Yeah. Yeah.
Flow.
Absolutely.
Flow.
Flow. Yes. Yes. And it's a tongue twister to pronounce the name of the author.
yeah. And possibly, I think Ujjwalji, even Devraj will have a this thing. Devraj had meticulously documented all of
Yes.
your
Yes,
book,
yes,
book
yes. I
references.
can share that document with you.
Sure, sure, sure.
Yeah.
I think it'll be amazing. And I don't know how you remember all of these books.
Oh, yeah. I think that so I can share with you very simply. It's not a secret at all. Uh, so what I do is that if I that's my practice even today. That is, say I watched a TED talk, I read a book, I read a chapter of a book. So what I do is I take a pause and open a reflection document in which it is in 3 columns. One is topic, say a TED talk. Then what are my key takeaways? In my words, I write what are my insights, and then where and how I will implement. The third column is absolutely critical because from there it moves from your cognitive space to subconscious mind. Because again, there are 4 words: data, information, insights, and action. So if I say 33, it's a data, but what does that mean? So to convert that into an information, say if I say 33 degrees Celsius, then everybody except Americans would understand because they don't understand Celsius. They say Fahrenheit. So, but something related to temperature. So data, information. Now, what is the insight for me? So what this 33 degrees Celsius speaks to me? So between information and insights, I need to reflect, which means I need to make sense of it. And that insights leads to action. Because that then it will be my action. It will be so all these books are no longer their author's books. They are mine. Because I have reflected upon, derived the insights out of it, and what brain works powerfully, visualization, is that right now, when I say that where I will implement this learning, so my brain will have to ping into the field of future and it will create a neural pathway. And whenever I need in the future, I will remember. I don't have to worry about remembering. Remembrance happens on its own because that recall will happen from this PFC, which is not Power Finance Corporation, but prefrontal cortex to basal ganglia. The movement will happen, which is the seat of long-term memory. So this simple reflection document, because in the world that we are living in and contributing to it as well, it directly moves from information to action. Insights are forgotten, or we get ready-made insights, chat GPT, ready-made insights. So my brain is not creating insight. I'm getting the outsourcing of insights, straight away converting into action. And that is where brain's generative capabilities are getting reduced and AI's generative capabilities are increased. Not against AI, but just suggesting that we are much more powerful than ChatGPT. Only thing, we need to pause and reflect. Even after every session, I spend 10 to 15 minutes with myself. Note down reflections, not judgments. See, I'm a good coach, I am a bad coach. It's easy for brain to judge because it doesn't have to think. But I just write down what are my learnings and where and how I will, even if it's a critique, I did not ask in the moment question. So where and how I implement this learning next time. So instead of a regretful past, it becomes a learning opportunity. And for that, if you refer to Amy Edmondson's work in Fearless Organization, she talks about learning and growth happens when it is high psychological safety, high accountability. So let us ask ourselves, we are highly accountable. We are holding ourselves accountable every moment, highest accountability. Are we providing ourselves enough psychological safety? And that is where this acceptance, forgiveness, or what beautiful word Arunanjali gave is respectful embracing comes in. If I don't feel safe as a coach, I can't have great coaching sessions because I'm continuously checking. And also in systemic coaching and constellations way, it is also imbalance of system. My own inner system is imbalanced. How will I help client to balance their own system? That happens through beingness, where my emotional pendulum is not moving here and there. It is mostly in the center, or even if it is moving, little bit of frequency. Yeah. Sorry, I'm pausing now, and we are already over time. So, any last words from anyone?
My closing thoughts are just wow, that's it. I think nothing else to add to it.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Tapan. Thank you, Deepti.
I
Thank you.
think what you mentioned about reflections, I recall even when we were doing our class, and this is for the benefit of everyone, Ujjwal would always tell us to do our reflections at the end of each section and also ask us next time as to what were our reflections. So I think that habit of doing reflections was such a good reminder because, like you said, it just goes into our subconscious mind. So
Yes,
yeah, thank you
yes.
for that tool and thank you for reminding us of that tool.
Sure. Thank you, Arunanjali. And one more reference on that. If you haven't read anyone, um, I would strongly recommend to look at The Biology of Beliefs by Dr. Bruce Lipton, who has nothing to do with Lipton tea brand. And go for 10th anniversary edition. I think that is the latest one, but
Outstanding
check
book.
that out. Yeah. And also brucelipton.com is a great resource where he keeps writing about uh, how our beliefs shape our lives. And as a coach, we are also supposed to work with clients limiting beliefs in everyone.
Amazing. So thank you, Georgie, on behalf of everybody who's here, who's joined, who's going to also catch up on the recording. Many years in the interim, sit with it, reflect with it many times. Uh, true. Thank you to the universe to bring you to my life and to also sharing this space with us today. And
Oh, most welcome.
it's a joy to always catch up with you and thank you so much.
Oh, most welcome. And on that last note, when you use the word ketchup, so it is tomato, chili, or mixed one.
Sometimes it is also uh, sauce भी कभी बहु थी but sauce भी कभी tomato थी.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you
Thank you.
both.